morning, everyone. We have with us a very interesting podcast today, the leader's impact on the evolution of the financial industry. So finance is just not about a government, operated bank anymore. It has undergone sea change, spreading its roots, and there has been, a seismic evolution in the industry that we know of, with multiple financial institutions coming in. Technology playing a very, very pivotal role as well, and also clients, going through a lot of evolution, trying to understand through their expanded worldviews. Amongst competition, today IIFL stands out to be one of the top service industries from the service industries. And we are honored to have Mr. Prakash Bulusu, the joint CEO of IIFL, here with us today. Prakash heads the private wealth and the securities business. So thank you, Prakash, for joining us for the podcast. With multiple private players today, operating in different capacities, this is a much needed conversation. So let me start with my first question, Prakash.
Sure.
What makes IIFL stand out, in the competitive landscape? You have recently joined, and I would be very eager to know what is your plans and vision for IIFL.
Sure. Firstly, thanks, Madhu, for this. I think today, as you rightly said, there's so many players. This is something which is industry which is overcrowded. Banks are there, NBFCs there, boutique firms are there. Somebody like us, are also there in this field. So what actually differentiates IIFL Capital from others is 3 Ps, which is what we talk about. One is product innovation and ideation. Second is the platform with the cutting edge technology, which is very important in today's day and age. And third is basically people, which is nothing but intellectual capital that we have.
True.
So our biggest strengths are these 3 Ps, which is where we look at leveraging on. To talk about it more, like for example, IIFL Capital, we have about 4 large verticals within the firm. The first is the investment banking. So I take pride in saying that we have been consistently number 3 investment bankers in the country, wherein we give so many capital market solutions to the promoter to look at servicing them, giving him options, ideas, fundraise, and all that. We also have equity research, which is the second largest in the country, where it's an institutional equity research where we service about more than 900 local and global clients.
That's quite a number.
And then Mr. G.V. Giri heads that on the research side. We are doing a fabulous job over there. Just to put a number to it, for the last 5 years, we have given 100 calls to the market, and our strike rate has been 94%.
Oh.
This is as of January, and all credit goes to the bunch of research team that Giri has built in, and it's been fabulous. Third, again, we are also pretty strong on the broking side of the business. We are top 5-6 brokers in the country on the securities side of the business. So, and then we also have wealth management. Also, I think the biggest advantage of IIFL Capital is that when a client walks into our office, we want to be a one-stop shop financial services to him. So it's not that we do only a product or a transactional focus kind of an approach to the client. So that's where the biggest differentiator factor between other firms and us, because we have the entire product portfolio that the client wants, not just on the advisory part of it, which is nothing but the from a balance sheet perspective, not just assets. Not just our liabilities. We also do assets,
Sure.
Which is nothing but the funding to the promoter, be it an acquisition finance, be it fundraise, be it a lease rental discounting, be it a structured finance transaction, project finance, you name it.
You name it, yeah.
So we are there because we also have
the entire basket too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we have other firm, another company which is IIFL Finance, which has got a 80,000 crore balance sheet, and we also utilize that to cater to all these needs.
Great. So how do you see, from a vision board perspective, how do you see, since you've joined at a leadership role today with paramount amount of experience behind you, where do you see the next 5 years for IIFL go under your leadership?
So while it's easy to set a goal saying that we want to be the top 3 or top 5 or something like that, but I think the way I would look at it is that be very, very meaningfully spread across the country over the next 5 to 10 years. That's
Sure.
our vision. You know, more and more clients is what we want to onboard and service them. You know, while our vision is to try and take this company, 10x in the next 10 years. That's the broad thumb rule that we have internally that we have put on.
Sure.
But I think if I have to break down and say that what is real aspirational for us to have more clients under our base, and then keep increasing and do the best for what they require. So that's our basic,
So you're following a more customer-centric approach, if I have to sum it up. That's the whole idea, that customer first before you.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great, in terms of thought leadership here. Personally, if I have to ask you a question, what has inspired you to being a banker? I mean, people have a lot of professions. You come from a great academic background yourself. So, what do you usually do when you're not number crunching? Has there ever been a second thought that, what if I was not a banker?
Okay, that's a tricky one, but let me tell you, Madhu, actually, if you get my background, I've done my MBA finance, and then, my entire education background has been number crunching. And I started my career with Karvi Consultants way back in '96. And ever since then till now, my journey has been fabulous, touch wood till now. And then the only reason is the passion I have towards this finance industry, and that's and the kind of clients that we meet. And I've seen the industry getting evolved. I mean, over the last close to 30 years, 3 decades, I've seen. From even a mutual funds those days was very, very, very basic, and clients were not even looking at mutual funds. From there till now, we have so much of complex products that has been around that clients are being offered. Ever since then to now, for me, actually, it's learning curve, it's passion, and at the same time, I've grown along with the industry.
So never a second thought of ever being elsewhere other than the financial industry?
No way.
Because I've seen leaders moving, so they have gone through different industry chains. So never that occurred to you?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
So we all talk about great things. Now, if I have to ask you, is that been a situation where you goofed up? Yeah, firstly, and that's been a great learning, and perhaps you changed the situation in your favor. Do you recall of any such situation in your career?
So mistakes do happen, at the end of the day, we are human beings actually.
Sure.
So, touch wood, it was not a costly mistake, I would say. But in my entire career, I've been offline professional world. I've been able to go through few of the situations where I did have tough times, but I think the good thing is that every mistake that you do, it's an experience for you. So then I think over a period of time, I think I've evolved, and I think today I can just see that coming, and then I usually try and see how to manage that. So
lovely. Any such customer experience that has left an impression on you which is unforgettable? Any favorable such association?
Good one. Good
Yes.
example.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say,
You would like to just talk a little about that?
Right. So there are many, I would say, because being an industry veteran, in the industry, a lot of clients actually have dealt, and a lot of promoters actually still have a great equation with me because they treat me as a family.
I know.
So one of the recent instances I will tell you,
Sure.
One of the promoter got stuck in with his partner, with his offshore partner, who was invested in his company, and we were just talking about it, and he said that my partner got into some regulatory thing. Prakash, how do I? And I'm just wondering, how do I? So it was so, and I could do that because I'm in this platform, and then I said, hey, why don't we actually understand that in detail? And then we got on a call with his offshore partner. Then I think I involved my investment bankers and all, and then finally we did that. And the promoter was so happy because while it was not his problem, it was his partner who was invested in his company. That is his problem. But the promoter
felt good about the fact. Yeah.
Absolutely, he saw that in this entire regulatory thing where he was. In fact, before even we actually worked on this thing, he actually went and knocked the regulators door for almost 10-15 times. But I think there were certain instances where they've been told to wait for some time. So, but I think the kind of solution that we have provided to him, he's very happy, and then we could able to succeed in the transaction.
Lovely. So, that's amazing.
One of the
kudos to you for giving that customer delight experience to him. Now the question I would have that, having spent decades, in the financial industry,
Yeah.
all of us have a role model, right? We look up to somebody. Is there somebody in your life who has been a catalyst in your career growth? And if you can help us understand 2 such traits that you would like to imbibe or have imbibed from the person that has helped you in your own career, in your own career path.
So I think one such, I don't know whether I should take the names or not. Yeah, one from the industry and one from the non-industry. I would, say one from the industry is obviously Prashant Jain. I've been seeing him, ever since my early part of my career, 97, 98. But kind of humble person he's. Over the last 30 years, I've just seen what while he's grown in stature and everything and all. But I think, he's so good.
If you could tell our audience Prashant Jain from?
Prashant Jain actually is from HDFC. He was the CIO of HDFC Mutual Fund. Now he started on his own, which is 3P. So I've learned a lot with him because I work closely with him. I've seen the way, you have to be grounded. And whatever may be the stage of life that you are, what is more important to be simple and grounded, and that is something which I
take you a long way.
A long way. And that is one example from the industry which I look up to him a lot. And I also am fascinated about Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, who's the current Chief Minister of the Pradesh. I've been seeing him. I actually track him for the last.
I hope he's watching this podcast.
I've seen him. How he usually faces those tough situations and comes out, and the kind of vision that he has towards, especially on the technology side of it, and the kind of good work that he's done for the nation, because he was the first chief minister in the country to understand technology and then took Hyderabad as a region to the next level. So I look up to him as my mentor also.
Super.
At his age also, he's very active and doing great things for the street.
Lovely. So great. So apart from work as usual, does Prakash have any other hobby that he would like to talk about that gives him a different high altogether?
So, I think for me, the detox, I would say, from the work is for the weekend. Every weekend I watch a movie.
Oh, lovely.
And every day once I go back home for a half an hour or so, I'm on.
So you're an OTT person?
I'm an OTT person.
And the genre, if you can talk about?
The genre is more of thrillers and comedy.
Lovely.
I like, and then more regional, Malayali thrillers.
Nice.
Nowadays that's pretty good. And of course,
good content. South contents are pretty good. Yeah.
So I'm a South Indian, so obviously I understand Tamil, I understand Telugu, and then Malayalam actually. So I do keep watching those. So, and of course, catching up with friends.
Lovely.
So these two are my
Detox. Okay. The last question that I have, and not the least, is that, how is the financial industry poised for growth? And what is the key takeaway leaders in this industry can get in terms of fostering the growth of the industry furthermore? If you can just share some views on that.
See, the way the country is growing right now under the leadership of Mr. Modi, I see this is just a beginning of a...
He's operating like a CEO.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And not just locally, globally also he's
True.
He's a brand, and then a lot of people different nations are looking up to him. And the way India is also growing it's fabulous. From our industry perspective, I see there's a huge potential. Going forward, especially the B towns. I keep traveling and I see the kind of, the kind of ambitions that the smaller promoters out there are there, and then they're going up to the next levels is unreal. While metros are growing at the pace that they are growing in because of the exposure and all that stuff, but I think India, is all about B towns. And once that takes off, which is what I see happening right now, I think we are going to be in a different planet altogether.
Absolutely, and I think the business that we are into and the way the HNI segment is also growing exponentially, I think we're all in the right business.
Absolutely.
Today worldwide, if you see the HNI population, they have aged. They're not at a stage of further asset allocation. They're all consolidating. Right. But India, the other side, today with the young millennial and the HNI is growing in, I think there's so much of scope for growth in this industry. Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. And I think not just Indians are growing locally, but also the Indians who are outside of India also are doing extremely well. And then COVID
They do
has-
see the change. They do see
See the
India
change.
as a prospective,
and I
investment.
think COVID has also reinvented a lot of these things, because
Sure.
Indians who have actually are HNI and ultra HNI, they also right are moving
Correct.
offshore to set up, and
Correct.
especially the UAE, wealth is growing exponentially thanks to Indians out of there. So I see our industry as a bright future going forward.
Absolutely. So Prakash, one last thing I would like to ask you, is that first of all, thank you for being a presenting partner for the Synods IP and sharing a similar vision. What made you kind of align to this initiative? Because today Synods is going to go, places throughout the country. That's what we would like to do, taking it to different cities, getting the HNIs, the product partners here. So where do you see this aligning, with your vision?
Okay, so I think actually the good thing about what Brand Talk is doing right now is basically trying to cater to the HNI and ultra HNI segment, and this is exactly what at IIFL Capital is what we are looking at. With the kind of services that we have and the kind of audience that you have, we believe there could be a great synergy, and that is something that we would like to, combinedly do this across the country to showcase our strengths through your platform, and that's where I believe and I see that both can work together for great partnership.
Absolutely, and that's our endeavor too, that we would work with the right platforms who's able to cater to these clients. And also one thing, what we really liked when we reached out to IIFL was that you are very customer centric and sensitive.
Sure.
And that's exactly today the HNIs need. Being in an overcrowded space, they look at this one partner who can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Absolutely.
I think IIFL is set out in a great journey, very ambitious journey, and I wish you all the very best
Thank you.
and a great partnership long term.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
All
you,
the best to
Prakash.
you all.